Hello, everyone. I'm Michelle Glaze, Director of Professional Outreach for the Foundation Fighting Blindness. Welcome to the inaugural meeting of the First Coast Family Coalition. We will begin hosting these about once a quarter, and we're excited to bring together professionals in Jacksonville and surrounding areas to showcase and highlight services and resources available for individuals with vision loss or blindness. This First Coast Family Coalition is going to be an opportunity to just bring professionals together to encourage collaboration and to provide greater opportunities for people with vision loss or blindness to leverage different resources in the local community. Our hope is that our presenters will invite their professional networks to participate. This is open to any professionals who serve the low vision and blind community. So thanks to those who have joined us today, and please encourage others who may benefit from this to join in future meetings. As I mentioned, this will be recorded and we will house this on the Foundation website. This series is part of Foundation Forums for Blindness, so keep an eye out for our next meeting of First Coast Family Coalition, and we will be sharing and highlighting that as it comes to fruition. Before we get started with the presentations, I just want to share my gratitude to our founding members, and you will hear from each of them during today's presentations. This is the team that really brought the idea to life for First Coast Family Coalition. So I want to send a heartfelt thank you out to Dr. Sandeep Grover, Ms. Adriann, Keve, and Ms. Meredith Mason. So thank you all for joining us and helping bring this to life. I am going to be handing things over to Andrew Kim, our Professional Outreach Coordinator. He will be introducing each of the presenters before their presentation. Each presenter will have about 5 to 7 minutes to highlight an overview of their facility, clinic, organization, group, what have you. Please hold all questions to the very, very end. We will have plenty of time at the end of the session for any questions. If you do have something that comes to mind while the presenters are speaking, please feel free to type those into the chat. Andrew will help to monitor those when we get to the Q&A session at the end. All right, without further ado, I'm going to hand things over to Andrew and we'll get our presentations underway. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Righty, thank you, Michelle, and good evening, everyone, and thank you all for joining us for our, as Michelle mentioned, our inaugural First Coast Family Coalition Foundation Forums for Blindness event. And to kick things off for this evening, we have a presentation from Dr. Sandeep Grover. Dr. Grover is a professor and associate chair at the Department of Ophthalmology at the University of Florida in Jacksonville. He is also a retinal specialist and an authority on inherited retinal diseases. Tonight, Dr. Grover will cover the various vision-related services available through the University of Florida. And Dr. Grover, please take it away.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Michelle, for organizing this. I like the term family coalition because really it is a family, it's a teamwork, and we are all here as part of the team to help people who are diagnosed with these inherited conditions. A lot of times, you talk about it, you don't even hear these names unless someone close to you is diagnosed with one of these inherited diseases. So I'm Sandeep Grover. I am at the University of Florida, have been there for 19 years, actually 1 month less than 19 years. And when I came here, one of the passions I had was to start an inherited disease clinic in Northeast Florida, which I did thanks to a grant from the Foundation Fighting Blindness. And it has flourished very well with a lot of inherited retinal disease patients in this clinic that I have one day a week. And as you know, that when you diagnose someone with inherited retinal diseases, you need a lot of resources for these patients in so many ways, and you can help them in so many ways. There is no treatment for most of these conditions, but you can at least help people find some direction using these resources. And we as a team should be able to direct them to the proper resource, because it depends upon what the vision is, what the diagnosis is. But what has happened in the last 5 years is, after FDA approved a gene therapy treatment for the first time for a certain kind of Leber congenital amaurosis, who have RPE65 gene mutations, a lot of interest has, a lot of companies have actually come forward. Lot of companies have actually sprung up in order to look at different genes, because gene therapy is probably one of the foremost way the research is going, and that in the future. So if there is going to be gene therapy, obviously we need to know about the genes as to the person is affected with what gene is the family or the person affected with. And so the importance of gene testing. So gone are the days when, even doctors would tell the patients, well, there's nothing we can do for you, just sit at home. You don't even have to see the doctor. And I've seen that conversation. I've heard that conversation from patients so many times, and I think that's not the way to deal with it. We need to go forward with gene testing, try to figure out the gene that is abnormal in that family or in that individual, because there may be help in the future. And there are so many clinical trials that are going on. And we at UF are one of the centers in the country for several trials for retinitis pigmentosa, coming up for Stargardt disease, for X-linked retinitis pigmentosa, for autosomal dominant retinitis pigmentosa. And it is exciting times for me as well as for my patients who are affected with these conditions. So with that, I will say, if you have a patient, and Dr. Jordan, she's the low vision specialist who will speak after me. If she sees someone who has inherited retinal disease, the first question she asks is, "Have you been to Grover?" and sends the patient to me. That's what they tell me. So, and then I also just, 1 or 2 visits, I complete the chart, make sure the gene testing is done. On the second visit, we go over the counseling of the gene report, and then it's all set. Even if the patient doesn't come back to me, I have the record now. And in the future, if a treatment trial comes through and the patient qualifies, I'm the one who's going to call them in and discuss the gene treatment therapy and see whether they want to participate in it or not. So I think it's exciting times for all of us, and I will stop here. Thank you.
No, thank you, Dr. Grover, and thanks for reminding us of the hope that we should have and the importance of genetic testing, and kind of walking us through a very brief version of the referral process to get patients your direction as well. Anyways, thanks again, and on to our next presentation. Our next presentation is from the Florida Division of Blind Services. We have Alexis Reed, a vocational rehabilitation counselor, and Adriann, Keve, a blindness rehabilitation professional, to tell us more about the Florida Division of Blind Services. Alexis and Adriann, please tell us more about your organization.
Well, thank you very much for this opportunity. As Andrew stated, I am a vocational rehabilitation counselor with my primary caseload being that of teenagers. So I will work with students starting at age 14 and helping them learn the skills to prepare for life after high school. So some of the services that we offer are a referral to the local community rehabilitation provider. The community rehabilitation provider provides instruction to our clients in all areas to adjust to their vision loss, including assistive technology, orientation and mobility, job readiness, And for the youth, instruction in self-advocacy, workplace, work-based learning experiences. So the students will go out into the community and work for a short time at a work site. The work experience can be paid or unpaid. Typically it's paid, but if a student wants to job shadow someone in a specific profession, we can help facilitate that. So all of these services lead to competitive and integrated employment. Each individual has an individual employment goal, whether it's to be a teacher, a doctor, a meteorologist. I even had somebody tell me once that she wanted to be an astronaut. Keep in mind, some of these may not be realistic, but these are teenagers, so the goals are ever shifting. So as the counselor, it's my role to help the individual develop a realistic plan for achieving their goal. We also work with individuals, not only referring to the community rehabilitation provider, but to other services such as rehabilitation engineering. So if someone needs assistive technology, they will meet with a rehab engineer who will help determine what technology is best suited for their needs, as well as a comprehensive vocational assessment. That's an assessment that will help people determine their strengths, their areas of interest, and that helps us as the counselor and the client make effective plans for vocational guidance. So to apply for our services, there's an online application on dbs.myflorida.com. There's a link that says apply for services. And in order to be eligible for, I'm speaking specifically of the vocational rehabilitation program, one must have a bilateral visual impairment, as well as identified barriers to achieve their employment goal. For example, somebody who needs orientation and mobility instruction, or someone that needs assistive technology services. If a student says to me, oh, I just need help with textbooks, and the student has no accommodations in school, it's very unlikely they would receive services from DBS. The eligibility process is an individual process for each client. We look at iMedical reports, we look at the client's goals, and then we make that determination. Once the client is determined eligible, we develop a plan of service with the services that that person would utilize in order to achieve their employment goal. I know my time is short, so I'll just touch really briefly on a couple of programs. For adults, we have the Rehabilitation Center in Daytona. That's a program where people go for very intensive blindness skills training, usually from about 8 to 3:30 every weekday. And typically people are there about 4 months. Really depends on what their needs are and what their goals are. We also have the Business Enterprise Program, which is training to allow someone to operate a vending stand. So that's a whole long process to get approved for that program. So I think, DBS is a very beneficial program for people of all ages who have vision loss of any variety. So thank you very much for allowing me to speak at your event, and I look forward to working with you.
Well, thank you, Alexis. Adriann, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to what Alexis just said, but please do if you want.
Yeah. Good evening, everybody. My name is Adriann Keve, and I am the Independent Living and Children's Program Specialist with the Division of Blind Services. So Alexis works with folks who have a vocational goal, and I work with either adults who do not have a vocational goal and just want to increase their independence. So just the adult program or the Independent Living Older Blind program. And then we also have a Blind Babies and Children's programs. So the Blind Babies program is early intervention. A lot of times, some of these vision impairments can be treated if caught early enough. So we partner with somebody, the Florida School for the Deaf and Blind, that they provide these early intervention services for the Blind Babies program. And then the children's program, that's for children who are in school, and we can help kind of provide support for the parents as they try to navigate how to figure out what an IEP is, what sorts of things they need in their IEP, provide information and referral to those parents. All these resources that we're trying to connect people to here today, we try to connect those parents to those resources through the children's program. Otherwise, I think Alexis did a wonderful job covering everything else. So thank you, Alexis.
Thank you, Alexis and Adriann. It's great to hear that the Florida Division of Blind Services has such a variety and depth of programs, especially those age-related ones. So I'm glad those are out there, and I'm glad you guys shared it with us. So our next presentation is from Dr. Katelyn Jordan, Director of the Vision Rehabilitation Program at the Brooks Rehabilitation Center. Dr. Jordan, please tell us more about all the services your low vision rehabilitation program offers for your patients.
Thank you. Thanks for having me tonight. So I just wanted to kind of go over our low vision center is a part of the Brooks Rehabilitation Hospital system. And so my first part, I wanted to kind of cover what our low vision center offers. And then I wanted to highlight a couple of other system-wide services that we take advantage of a lot of times to refer our patients to as well, that I think might be good resources for everybody to know about. So at our Center for Low Vision, first off, Dr. Grove really resonated with me, because that conversation that doctors have where kind of they end with, sorry, there's nothing else we can do, is like the most frustrating. And, oftentimes the worst thing you can say to somebody. And so it's nice we're hearing it less and less. But even outside of kind of the gene therapy trials and all of the new research that's going on, it's kind of something that I never want to have somebody hear as well, because from just a perspective of living, if you take the analogy of, somebody breaks their leg or hurts some other part of their body, we don't say, sorry, there's nothing else, and stick them in a bed in a room and leave them be. And my perspective is kind of the same thing with vision. Okay, I'm using this room. Sorry. So if there is a cause that's causing vision loss, we want to offer resources and services to help them continue to, distracted. They came in my room to change the trash out. Okay. So if they're having vision loss, we want to offer them the services to best be able to use their vision to continue with their daily living activities, whether that be just continuing to live at home independently, go to school, go to work. A low vision exam focuses on determining what vision a person has and kind of where those deficits may be, and helping to maximize the use of that vision. initially it tends to be a longer exam looking at, are there special glasses that can help a person use their vision better? Or are there specific devices like magnifiers, telescopes, or technology that could help them use their vision better? And then here at Brooks, we have a very multidisciplinary environment. After we do the low vision exam, we have occupational therapists who are specially trained in vision who do really an excellent job of taking kind of this basic information of this is the vision that we have available and these are the tools that could be helpful, and really applying that to the specific activities. You know, whether that be managing diabetes medications or you know, reading their textbook at school, getting around their home, using their appliances. It tends to be a really helpful collaboration to help patients get started using some of those devices. We also will collaborate oftentimes with some of our physical therapy team, and then the psychologists who work here as well. You might wonder, you know, who is a low vision exam for? And it's really for anybody who has some sort of vision loss that's causing a functional deficit. So if you lose some vision and it's impacting your ability to do your daily activities, then a low vision exam could be helpful for determining additional things to help out. A lot of times people have questions about, you know, who covers these services and what kind of support is available for them. I just kind of wanted to throw in there that typically insurance does cover both low vision exams and occupational therapy for low vision rehab. But there are some insurances that can be harder to get that done with. At Brooks, we have a charity or uncompensated care foundation account where we can help patients who also have financial limitations. The trickiest part often comes when it comes to anything vision related is the devices, the tools, the glasses. Just like if you go get regular glasses prescribed, medical insurance doesn't cover them. And unfortunately, it doesn't cover low vision devices either. But, you know, we often do whatever we can to work with community resources to make sure that patients are able to get those, whether that be working with like Alexis and Adriann over at Division of Blind Services, or internally, we've created a couple of programs to be able to borrow low vision devices or have some of the lower cost ones covered. So there are a number of ways to make those devices available. A couple of things that I wanted to throw in kind of outside of the low vision clinic, some services that we will often refer patients to. There's a rehabilitation psychotherapy at the Brooks Behavioral Medicine. Oftentimes, whether it be a change in vision or a change in health, it's a tough thing to cope with. And so having some resources to help out with kind of determining, you know, what those coping skills are. The medical psychotherapy, they offer brief individual psychotherapy services to patients. Here at Brooks, just to kind of give some of the inclusion and exclusion who it's helpful for. And I buzzed our psychotherapist just to make sure I got this all right, but they see patients 16 and older who have a medical diagnosis that's causing a psychological diagnosis of depression, anxiety, kind of somewhere in there. And then they don't see anybody younger than 16, and they don't see people whose primary diagnosis, the primary need for it is a neurodevelopmental disorder, eating disorder, substance use disorder, or active psychosis. So it really is for helping to cope with these medical changes or these health changes. And then, you know, Meredith's on here. I can't not mention adaptive sports. So the Brooks Rehab Adaptive Sports Program is open to all individuals across the Jacksonville or the Northeast Florida community. with a physical, cognitive, or visual impairment. Anybody of any age, all abilities. It's a community health program here at Brooks. There's no fee to participate and no physician referral is needed. There's really a wide variety of activities that occur year-round. And it's really a holistic approach to incorporating recreational and competitive activities to allow patients or people to kind of have another outlet there. I feel like I'm probably doing it a disservice. Meredith, you could do such a better job talking about it, but it really is a great resource that we often refer our patients to as well.
Alrighty, well, thank you so much, Dr. Jordan. It's awesome to hear that you guys have such a comprehensive program for your patients that covers so many things. And I know you only had a few minutes to discuss it, and there's probably more to discuss, but it's great to know that you guys are out there. And it's also great to know that you already have a synergy with some of the other organizations already on this call, which is awesome. Alrighty, so for up next, we have a presentation from the Jacksonville Beaches Lions Club. The Lions Club is involved with fundraising for humanitarian causes and provide local volunteer-led community services. And to tell us more about the Jacksonville Beaches Lions Club, we have a local supporter, Meredith Mason. Meredith, please tell us more about your organization.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Michelle, for hosting this call. Katelyn, you did an amazing job talking about Brooks' Adaptive Sports and Recreation Program. It's honestly tremendous. And Adriann and others, we also participate in the program. So I did want to just apologize on behalf of Linda Zepp. She is the actual representative from the Lions Club at Jax Beach. She was unable to make it this evening, so I decided to step in her place, and hopefully, cross your fingers, I will do as good a job as she would have done presenting the Lions Club. Little history first about the Lions Club, for those of you who are not familiar with it. It was founded in 1917 by a gentleman named Melvin Jones. He was a businessman in the community who wanted to affect the community more than just from a business perspective. He wanted to make sure that he addressed community needs. So he and other business folks got together, founded, it was called then the Association of Lions Clubs. In 1925, at a convention, Helen Keller charged the Lions with becoming the Knights of Blindness. So this was how everything started becoming like the primary concern for the Lions Clubs and what they do. They do more than that at this stage in the game. They cover things from hard of hearing, the environment, cancer, diabetes, as well as supporting seniors and people with disabilities. In 1930, something amazing happened in England. A gentleman named George Bonham saw somebody walking with a cane trying to cross the street with low vision and came up with the nifty idea to paint it white so that it would have more visibility for the motorists to see those crossing the street with their white cane. So really cool history about the organization. It's got 1.3 million members. It is the largest service organization in the world with 45,000 clubs in over 200 countries. You can honestly find a Lions Club in literally almost every country on this planet. So it's just a tremendous network of people. If anybody on this call is a Lion, congratulations again for being part of the largest service organization in the world. I myself was a Lion back in the day. I really enjoyed being in that club and participating. I've sort of moved my vision, not to be punny, to something greater in the world for me, which actually is part of Lions Club, which is being a guide dog user. Leader Dogs for the Blind out of Rochester Hills, Michigan, was founded by the Lions Club, and I am so proud to be a guide dog user. So moving on to a little bit more about the club here in Jacksonville Beach. They're 35 members strong. It's a small club, but they're mighty. And again, what they do is a number of things. One, they do fundraising. And of course, that's really a primary important task for the Lions Club. They've got to raise that money to help and support their beneficiaries. Foundation Fighting Blindness being one of them. We have received grant money from them to help either support Dr. Grover or some of our Vision Walk activities or other activities we do here in the community. They also do community service. If we needed something from them, for example, at our Vision Walk back in April, a number of the folks came out and supported doing some setup and encouraging walkers, doing some breakdown. It was really wonderful. So they're there to serve the community. One of the coolest things that they do, and I'm sure anybody on this call who's ever been to an optometrist, an ophthalmologist, they have their Lions Club collection boxes for eyeglasses. What they do is they collect those eyeglasses, they measure them, they refurbish them, and then they distribute them to people with low vision who cannot afford new eyeglasses. So really, really cool, fun things that they do. I did want to highlight a couple of their fundraising efforts for those of you in the community here locally. It's something to put on your calendar because they're really fun activities. So in the fall, they have what's called the Barktoberfest, and it's out here on the beach side. I live out on the beach side, so that's why I'm more involved with that club. But there are clubs all over the Northeast Florida and Southern Georgia area. The Barktoberfest fundraising actually goes to Guiding Eyes for the Blind. It does not go to Leader Dogs. The reason why it goes to Guiding Eyes for the Blind is because one of their members, who's no longer active with them, received 2 of his guide dogs from Guiding Eyes for the Blind. And the coolest thing happened today. I was at Dr. Grover's office, and guess what? I bumped into him. So it was amazing how the community is so large, but at the same time, it's so intimate and personal and unique that those of us get to bump into each other and support and lift each other. So that was really cool. I really love that. That's in October. They always try to do it in Low Vision / RP Awareness Month, which is really great, and combine it with White Cane Safety Awareness Day as well. The other event, which I'm so happy that Adriann Keve was able to join me at the event this year, in April, they have what's called their Bowl-O-Rama. And this is their big general fundraiser that they do once a year. They rent out an entire bowling alley. There's probably 30 to 40 lanes. They get, folks doing 50-50 raffles. They have auctions. They have all sorts of fun baskets and tickets to things that they do. And they raise thousands of dollars. And then they determine after the event's over, again, who are their beneficiaries in the community to donate those funds to. Again, the Foundation Fighting Blindness, that Adriann's the chapter president and I am the aide chair. We received a $200 little grant from them, which was amazing. And again, we're so happy that we're one of their beneficiaries at this point in time. So again, love the Lions Club. I am a supporter all the way through and through. I go to their meetings sometimes. I definitely fundraise for them. Love them as an organization. Again, if you want to get more involved in the low vision community or any of the other mission areas that they're involved in, including the hard of hearing, please sign up to be a member. They desperately need new members because the average age of a lion is about 70 years old. So, unfortunately, as that community starts to age and age out, we are looking for new members to get involved with the Lions Club. So again, thank you, Andrew, Michelle, the rest of the groups, organizations on the call tonight. Such a pleasure to be with you all.
Righty, thank you so much, Meredith. Very cool background story about the Lions Club that I did not know about. And it's awesome to know that you guys have, in addition to everything else you guys do, this low vision, all these low vision related programs as well, and all the exciting events that you guys host. So definitely going to look into my own local Lions Club as well, actually. So thanks
Awesome.
again.
That's great news.
All righty. So our final presentation, the last but certainly not least presentation, is from Mark Poirier, a connection manager at the Jacksonville Transportation Authority. Mark, please tell us more about the kinds of services that you guys offer for the blind and low vision community.
Thank you very much, Andrew. I appreciate you and really appreciate the invitation to be here tonight and present with you. Tonight, I'm going to speak about the services that are offered here at the JTA, Jacksonville Transportation Authority. And I'd like to start by saying that all of our services that are offered at JTA are ADA accessible. I'm going to start off with the St. Johns River Ferry that connects passengers by way of the John Ribault auto and passenger carrier between Mayport Landing and Fort George Island. This service runs 7 days a week. Runs 7 days a week. Monday through Thursday is 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Friday, 6 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. And then Saturdays and Sundays, 7 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Next service that we have is our fixed route bus service with 29 strategically placed bus routes throughout Duval County, running 7 days a week, which I know you all see all the time. In addition to our fixed route service, we have our First Close Flyer, which is JTA's premium bus rapid transit service. This service also runs 7 days a week with frequent, limited stop, reliable service covering 58 miles of destination travel. In August, there will be a major service change that will be increasing the frequency of many of the BRT routes from 30 minutes to 15 minutes on specific BRT routes. The next service offered at JTA is the Skyway, which is a 2.5-mile elevated monorail system that glides above the busy streets of downtown Jacksonville, crossing the St. Johns River to Kings Avenue on the south bank. The fully automated Skyway features 8 stations, 5 on the downtown north bank and 3 on the south bank, providing convenient access to businesses, government, restaurants, shops, museums, and entertainment venues. The Skyway operates Monday through Friday. The next service at JTA is our Ready Ride service, which provides affordable on-call transportation to customers in 14 of Jacksonville's communities. It's a service that puts you, the customer, in control of when and where to be picked up and dropped off. This is a zone-based, and the goal is to provide more ways to access the JTA fixed route and BRT services. Also, along those lines is our Express Select service. The Jacksonville Transportation Authority Express Select service offers commuters an executive-style affordable ride from 3 Northeast Florida communities to the Jacksonville Regional Transportation Center at LaVille, JRTC, in downtown Jacksonville. Express Select vehicles offer comfortable seating and modern-day conveniences like complimentary Wi-Fi and USB charging points. In addition, all vehicles are equipped with wheelchair access. There are 3 Express Select routes that have services to Clay, Nassau, and St. Johns County. Express Select also operates Monday through Friday. Next, I'll get to our eligibility-based services, starting with our Connection service. Connection is our main general paratransit service, and it's providing destination-to-destination shared public transportation for people with disabilities who are functionally unable to use fixed route services for some or all of their transportation needs, and for people who are transportation dependent, TD. Connection customers must be certified as eligible under either the guidelines of the Americans with Disabilities Act or TD program. For ADA eligibility, you would need to provide a completed ADA application and medical professional statement form. At that point, you would schedule an appointment and then for an in-person interview and a functional or cognitive assessment. For TD eligibility, all you would need to do is provide a completed TD application with a a medical professional statement or proof of income. For complete eligibility criteria, I would ask that anybody that is interested to please reach out to us at the Eligibility Center here. And I'm going to give the phone number for the recording so that you can pass this on to as many people as possible. Phone number is 904-265-6001. Our Connection services operate 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And our offices for eligibility are open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. With that being said, anybody who's eligible for Connection is also eligible for our Connection Plus service. Connection Plus is our premium paratransit service, and it's eligible for private same-day door-to-door service to anywhere in Duval County. And as of Connection, it also operates 7 days a week. And also, with all of those services here in Duval, we also offer regional services connectors for Baker County and Clay County, which also run under the JTA umbrella. This includes the Baker Wildcat, providing many trips from the JRTC to McClenny and Baldwin area, and Clay Community Transportation offers easy, affordable, and flexible ways to get around Clay County. Now, the last service that we provide is probably one of the ones that I'm most proud of and our most recent. So recently, the JTA partnered with IRA. IRA is an app-based wayfinding technology used to remove barriers to provide more options to our clients in Duval County and the 5 surrounding counties: Clay, Nassau, St. Johns, Baker, and Putnam. You can access IRA in your favorite app store free of charge. Once you download the IRA app, provide some basic information on the home screen. If you click the free offer tab in the upper middle of the screen, you can drop that down and search for JTA. And there's an offer on there called JTA Transit Plan and Ride. Click on that. Once you have applied that and completed that process through a partnership between JTA and IRA, you will have free access to an IRA agent while using public transportation in Duval and the 5 surrounding counties. IRA offers human-to-human professional assistance services for people who are blind or who have low vision. Using the powerful combination of your camera on your phone and the IRA app on your device, a professionally trained agent will assist by visually interpreting what is in the camera's view or shared on the screen, from describing to reading, from explaining to navigating, just about anything safely and securely. IRA operates 24/7, 365 days a year to assist you in many tasks such as locating bus stops, navigating a bus depot, identifying the correct bus to get on. And JTA is super proud to offer this service free of charge for our clients. Again, I just wanted to thank you for the time and appreciate the invite to present the JTA services available.
Righty, thanks so much, Mark. It's really great that you guys have all these services available for people, especially those with vision loss, and you have all this ADA compliant transportation for everybody, since we know we want to get people to visit their doctors like Dr. Grover and Dr. Jordan, and to go check out organizations like the Florida Division of Blind Services. So it's important to get everyone to where they need to go to get their services. So that is our final presentation in the evening. We are now going to move on to the Q&A section. Michelle, I want to pass things back over to you. We do have a couple of questions in the chat, so let me know if you want me to read those off to you.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you to our founding members. Thank you to all the presenters tonight. You know, life in general really takes a team. And for those of us with vision loss, that's no different. The folks that have presented here today are a really great place to start for individuals with vision loss or blindness to get, footed and get information they needed, community they need, and other support that they need to move forward. So just excited to have all of you. I will let you all know that Andrew at the end of the session will be posting a list of all of the presenters today, along with contact information. We will also be emailing out that list, as well as the recording of today's session after we have everything piled together. This recording and all of the information that we've shared today will be housed on the Foundation website. So at some point, we're still working on getting this all up and running, but www.fightingblindness.org. In the top right-hand corner, there is an eye care professionals link. You click on that. There will be a page for Foundation Forums for Blindness. Be patient. We are still in the development process on that. And then there will be a dedicated page for First Coast Family Coalition, where all of this information will live. We will have about 15 minutes for Q&A. I do want to just also make mention that the Foundation Fighting Blindness does have a local chapter in Jacksonville, to where you can go to learn about research, genetic testing, and other local resources. Adriann, Dr. Grover, Meredith Mason. I think that our community manager, Chelsea War, is on the call today. Of course, Andrew and I can get you connected if that is of interest as well. So thank you. Thank you to the team there in Jacksonville for supporting the Foundation Fighting Blindness. So with that, Andrew, I'm going to go ahead and open everything up for questions. If you want to start with the ones in the chat, and then if anyone else has questions, please feel free to either ask them directly or raise your hand.
Sure. So we did have one question. It was kind of answered, but maybe there's some more folks that can help answer it that are on the call. But Dawn asked, how many organizations represented on this call actively employ individuals who are blind or low vision? And someone from Brooks Rehabilitation, Sarah, said that they do. And so if there may be other organizations on the call that do as well, please chime in.
Yes, so for JTA, our subcontractor MV has several actually. Blind Reservation is currently working for them here in our call center.
Very cool.
Yeah, the Lions Club is an all volunteer organization, so unfortunately there's no employment. I would encourage you though to connect with people at the Lions Clubs, because they themselves have businesses, they work at organizations. I'm sure there are ways to find employment if you have low vision.
All right.
Adriann and Alexis, I'm sure Florida Division of Blind Services employs individuals with vision loss. Do you want to speak to that?
Yes, they do. How do I know? Because yeah, I am one. So yes, we definitely do.
And the Foundation Fighting Blindness also employs individuals with vision loss or blindness. Our folks work remotely, so I would encourage you to check out the career section at fightingblindness.org if you want to learn more about those opportunities. Great question.
Alrighty, and the other question that was placed in the chat is, have you ever heard of the Right Here or OKO app for navigation? That was by James. I don't know if anyone on the call may have heard of these apps before, but I have not personally.
I've heard of the OKO app. I haven't used it personally except in a demonstration, but the OKO app is an app that basically uses AI to indicate when it's safe to cross a street. It relies on a camera on your iPhone, and I don't think it's available on Android, but I'm not certain of that. So I can't really speak a lot to it, but if that person wants to reach out to me, I can connect you with an orientation and mobility teacher that can speak to that app a lot more than I can.
That's pretty cool, actually. All righty, Alexis. Well, as Michelle mentioned before, everyone's contact information that presented tonight will be sent out via an email with the recording of tonight's presentation. So please just be patient with us while we get all that done. All right, Michelle, I think that was the last question that was in the chat. It was just those two. If anyone else has any questions that they want to verbalize now or put in the chat, please feel free to do so.
And while folks are thinking, I would like to direct a question to Dr. Jordan and or Dr. Grover. If one of you could speak to just the referral process for patients with vision loss due to an inherited retinal disease or some other condition. Would one of you share a little bit about how you get individuals connected to other professionals and the local community?
Want to go first, Katelyn?
Sure. So just to clarify, Michelle, is your question the referral process to get to us, or kind of once they're seeing us, how we refer them to other resources, or both?
Either or both. I was thinking about, if a patient comes into you, who do you refer to? How do you get them connected to all of the different professionals that they need in order to thrive?
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit of a team approach for sure. So when I see a patient for the first time, I kind of have a battery of questions that help me identify specific resources that would be useful to them. So I ask them about kind of their employment history to understand what community resources would be helpful for that if they're currently working or if they're planning to return to work. Then we always kind of bring up the Division of Blind Services. If they're not working, but they're having difficulties with independent living activities, then still Division of Blind Services, the non-vocational path comes up. And when that comes up, I think it was Alexis who talked about the online application. Our process kind of right now, and we're going to meet with them again just to make sure it's working well, is to help the patient apply online while they're in the office, and then also send over a referral so that my notes plus the request for their eye medical report all get sent at one time, because sometimes just even applying can be a difficult process. And kind of, taking that next step that there's there's oftentimes not just needing the resources, but kind of being ready to take them and that sort of thing. So kind of walking through what those are available and then kind of helping along that process. Sometimes I have patients who I tell them about that and they're like, I'm not ready for that right now. And so I'll put it in our plan of care, and maybe like as they're working with our occupational therapy team, they'll kind of bring it up again later on. Because if it's a relatively new diagnosis, sometimes it's just a whole lot to swallow at one time. I do always also ask if a person is a veteran, when it's an appropriate question, not to like a 16-year-old, but because the VA has excellent low vision sources as well. And if they are a veteran, I'll usually, again, kind of directly reach out to our VA here to make sure that they're getting the records and getting them connected, because getting through the eligibility process with the VA is a lot. And so getting that process started is one that we'll work on as well. Like Dr. Grover mentioned, if I have somebody who has an inherited retinal disease, that is always a question. Have you seen, Dr. Grover, have you had genetic testing? And making sure that they're getting that addressed. If they are usually, as far as referrals coming to me, they are coming from other ophthalmologists or optometrists, or occasionally like primary care neurology. I always want to make sure that they're getting proper eye care as well, because everything that we're doing in the low vision clinic is really focused on function and less on ocular health. We can address some things, but we just want to make sure they're all addressed. So I will also sometimes put in referrals to various ophthalmology specialties as well. We bring up JTA resources and try and put those referrals in. It really, the low vision exam is very goal oriented. And so as each goal is brought up, we kind of talk about those resources, and whether I address it on the first visit or it comes up with the occupational therapist later on. We do try to help those referral processes along, because, you know, every service has an application. And that, I mean, that's like a barrier right out the gate in so many ways. And so that is one of the things that we try to help with. But I mean, we're as guilty as anybody else. I have paperwork that has to be filled out too. It's a pain in the butt, but we try to help with it.
Thank you. Thank you. Dr. Grover, did you want to add anything to that?
So for low vision, depending on certain things, insurance and where they live, I would send to Dr. Jordan. There are a couple of other low vision specialists in Jacksonville area, or to Florida Division of Blind Services. For gene testing, I do it right in the office. My technician will take care of that. And for everything else, I have 4 people: Susie, Lisa, Adriann, and Meredith. And they have been so kind enough in this chapter to give their names and cell phone numbers out to the patients who call them, and then get connected in the right way to different resources, whatever they need. I think I'm going to include Nick also in that list, because he's working on those resources quite a bit. So that's what I do.
Thank you both for sharing. A wonderful team represented here for Jacksonville folks. Any other questions from anybody before we kind of button things up for tonight?
Yeah, Michelle, we had a couple more coming through the chat. So Donovan asked, does anyone have any details about the American Council of the Blind annual convention in Jacksonville? I don't know if anyone on this call might have any information about that.
Adriann, you want to take that one?
I can't. I'm gonna have to look up the dates, or somebody can just look those up really quick, but it is taking place in Jacksonville, Florida in early July at the, I believe it is at the Hyatt. It's about a week.
The 5th through the 12th, Adriann?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a really good opportunity to network and to gather resources. And then there is also a National Federation of the Blind national convention taking place in Orlando, so not too far from Jacksonville. And then there is the Florida Council of the Blind just had their state convention in Jacksonville about a week ago. And then the National Federation of the Blind of Florida is having their state convention in Jacksonville at the South Bank Hotel in October over Columbus Day weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adrian. And one last question here. It's an open question to everybody. Are there any kind of housing assistance programs in our area that maybe anyone might be aware of or might know who to talk to about?
I can speak to that a little bit. My recommendation is to call the city of Jacksonville. If you are a Duval County resident, they can direct you in the right place. I know that we, the Division of Blind Services, do not have anything. We usually refer to the city or county resources. So the city of Jacksonville does have a disabled services division, and you can call them with any questions, disability related, not necessarily goal oriented with regard to independent living, like we do at the Division of Blind Services. So they can help you find those other resources that might kind of loosely be related to something to do with disabilities.
Yeah, there is a community called the Arc. It's off of Hodges Boulevard in between JTB and Beach Boulevard. I don't know the requirements for eligibility to live there. I don't know if they're full. They may be full all of the time, but again, it's called the Arc. And again, it's the same thing that Adrian just said. Reach out to the city of Jacksonville, Disabled Services. I'm sure there's plenty of information about that particular community. And then again, I'm sure there's fair housing contact information at the city as well, as far as helping with that.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, we are approaching the top of the hour. I want to, again, thanks to everyone who participated today. Andrew's going to put up a list of the presenters and contact information. We will also be emailing those out along with the recording to all of you. Please feel free to share this abroad. And our next First Coast Family Coalition meeting will be in September. Everyone who has attended tonight will receive a notification when that meeting is ready. If anyone on the call would like to present or have suggestions for potential presenters for our next meeting, please feel free to share those with me or someone you know on the call. My email address is mglaze@fightingblindness.org. On behalf of the Foundation Fighting Blindness, global leader in driving retinal degenerative disease research, I want to thank all of you for attending. If you'd like to find out about the nearly 50 clinical trials underway for inherited retinal diseases and dry AMD, please visit fightingblindness.org. Click on the research tab, and there's a clinical trial pipeline. Dr. Grover and Dr. Jordan are also very well versed in those different projects, so feel free to lean on them as well. So thanks everyone for joining us, and we are excited to continue on this First Coast Family Coalition in September. Have a great night.